Morning, everyone. So, last session we designed this CRUD operation example. So, have you tried it? I uploaded the complete document. So, the project, you tried that complete, all those interactions you designed. You completed those, adding, registering, anything. So, what we designed in the previous in To-Do app, so we created this user dashboard, invalid login, and we have to add one more functionalities, updating and inserting. These two options we need to create. So let's start this one. So we are starting the API and the application here. So in this now, the complete one more implementation I will show, others you try. Means what we will add here is adding appointment. Edit appointment you try. I will just give you an overview about that. So user can log in, and after login, okay. So in this application, so we have existing user and new user. Already new user we designed. So existing user will log in. So when login with John at the net 123, I think some users. Okay. So sign in John at the net 123. Okay, here it is going to show that user who logged in. Now what we need to do, add appointment. So on add appointment, you can show a form here. User will enter the appointment details and submit, or you can create a pop-up so that user can enter those details. So this dashboard, let's go to the dashboard. In the user dashboard, we are implementing on the new appointment button click. This is the add appointment button. So we will create here a container. So we'll keep the class as model. So fade and ID as. So add task. Okay, so here we are going to design some model dialog and model dialog centered. We have a model content. And in this we have model header, a heading. So add appointment and a button, BTN close. So database dismiss, model. So here we have model body. So every appointment needs some details. Here we will create a form. We are designing a form. In this form, we have a data list. So we have appointment ID, appointment ID. Actually, we can keep it auto generated also. So we have input type is text. So name, appointment ID. So next we have title. So input type is text. So name is title. We have a description. Description you can give in text area. Some rows, some 4 calls, some 30 or 40. Okay. It will have a name. This is description. And here another data term, date, input type is date. So name as date. and the form have add task. Okay, BTN, some warning, something we have defined like this. Now this should open on the button click. So data BS target, add task, and data BS toggle model. Okay, so this is, so add appointment related. So on add appointment, a pop-up will come. That means now user can add appointment. Here so many internal logics will be there which you have to implement. I will give the list of what you need to implement. So appointment ID, title, description, date, and add task. But actually appointments have one more field, user ID. That means these all appointments are going to store in appointments table. In that appointment table, there is a relationship. This appointment belong to which user ID. So how about user ID? User ID, where is that? User ID we stored in a cookie. Who logged in? That user ID should be stored at user ID field because appointments have user ID. Let's go to the database. So in the database, this is a sample DB. Yeah. In this sample DB, appointments. So currently we don't have appointments. We will add them. And in that appointments, as per our data requirements, we need an ID. So user ID should be there. So now when user clicks on this add task, we need to collect the data from the form and submit the data into the database. So how you will collect data from the form and submit? You already have Formix and other uh, libraries you can use. So what we are doing here, we will create a Formic. So I am just creating a constant Formic, use Formic, and in that initial values, we have appointment ID. This we will collect from the text box, right? So we have the text box. This is from the form. Initially appointment ID, let it be empty, 0 I am giving. Because it is in initial values. Another one is title, it's a string. Description, it is also a string. Here another is date. Date, I'm just keeping a string because you remembered in API we converted it into date. So when we are taking in API, the add task is there now. Add task, it is converting to date. So you don't need to convert here. the IDs, everything, they are converted in the backend. So you need to just collect that date. Next, we have user ID. User ID empty. So initial values, these are empty. So here we need to get on submit. We have to collect the values. Values are nothing but actually task related details. These task related details must be sent to add task API. Add task is expecting the task which have ID, description, date and user ID. So here we need to send that. Okay, this task must be sent. But the task needs one extra detail. What is the detail? User ID. So here form doesn't have user ID. So what is the initial value of form? Default, it is not empty. It should get the user who logged in. So where is that information? That is in cookies. So we have to access here what it is. Cookies of, what is the cookie name? User ID. So the cookie user ID will be used here. So the cookie user ID will be used. Okay. Now we need to send these details by using Axios.post. So submitting data is on which request? Post. Post to the location HTTP 127.0.0.1 and 7000. Here add task. That is the path. Post requires data and we have to pass the data. Data is what? Task. After that, we just keep an alert saying that task added successfully. So then we window dot location dot what reload. Later we will put other dependencies also. I will give you some points about that. Okay, now this is all the data ready. Now what should happen is we need to collect the data. So we need to bind in the form. Here form on submit. What it uses? Formic dot handle submit. And all other details you know. So on change formic dot what handle change. Okay. So we are accessing and configuring that in all of these fields. Fine. So now this is option. So button type is what type? Submit. Not required, but latest versions onwards, they added more error tracking in React. In JSX elements, if any generic types you are using, you are not mentioning the types, then it shows warning that button is missing with type and all. React 18 added, so more error tracking facilities internally. Earlier we don't have. Earlier React used to track the errors dynamically. Dynamically means at the time of running application. But now it had added some more error tracking facilities internally. That's the reason you will get warnings about them saying that button don't have a type. Still it works, but we will avoid them. We will just mention type as submit. You know that if you don't define type, what is the default type? Default type is submit. So no issue. Okay, now let's run this and see. Now this user, so this user John NIT logged in, and we have add appointment ID. So appointment, suppose some friend birthday, description, suppose say birthday, so remind me about some birthday like this, some name I given, and we selected some date, and we click on add task. So add task, have to add task successfully. Okay, then it is added into the list. So we are inserting the appointment there. And in the database, when you refresh, the data is available here. You have to make sure that all the data types are correct, because if you miss parsing, translating anything, this will be in a string format. This also will be in a string format. Will be in a string format. That should not happen. Check, because if anywhere you missed parsing, later there will be problem, because when you are deleting, the data type will mismatch. So that's the reason once you need to check that option. Once it is done, it is related to John. Okay, let's sign out. So after sign out, we will log in as another user, some Sam React, so or some other. Here I am login as Sam React, and the password of Sam is Sam@net11. Okay, @net11 login. He don't have any appointments. It is empty, and we will add an appointment. The appointment ID. Now, can you auto generate these IDs? You can. What you can do, get the appointment IDs which are already existing. What is the last appointment ID? To that you have to add +1, and you internally generate this. That means you don't need to write the appointment ID. So here title, some meeting, some description, so project, so meeting, something like this. Date, we selected some date, and you say add task, and that is added successfully into the list. Now here we have 2 appointments added into the database. Now I sign out and I log in into John @net123. Then the appointment of John will be the same. That means who logs in, their appointments will be displayed. So that is a basic approach of configuring add. So how you add the appointment and define. Now update, will you try? So I will give just one level, second level you try. Update. What should happen when user clicks edit? This appointment should open in edit mode. That means a pop-up should come, and in that pop-up, that appointment details should open. How we will do that? That is the challenging one, not easy. So I will give one level, next you try other, means next level. You have to explore and do that. Why? Because Formic, when you are submitting the data, Formic allows to bind the data. Means I will show you the issue, you will understand. That is why it is not simple and easy. You need to do some research on Formic library. I will leave it for you. Let's see how many people can solve that. Why? Because Formic have options. We used initial values, validate schema, on submit, on change, on blur. But do you know Formic is by default one-way binding. Formic also one-way binding. Actually, in Formic, you added a task, and in Formic, you registered user. There, you are not showing any existing details in the form. You are taking new values. But if you have to bind existing values to the form, and those values are not editable, I will show you the point. So on edit click, what should happen? On edit click, a pop-up should come. In the pop-up, we have to display this appointment related details and keep a button called save. Okay, let's do this. That means in the same dashboard, for edit button, you need another form. Then actually this Formic, you better give as add Formic. Another one is edit Formic. Two forms are required now. So you can we have multiple forms? I told you na. I given one FAQs related. Can we have multiple forms? Can we have a form inside another form? So can we have multiple submit buttons? In events, I explained that point. So how do we know which button they clicked? So form action, there is an property called form action. In event binding, I explained those points. So usually now, what should happen is whenever user clicks edit, you need another pop-up. For this edit, we have to generate. So let's create. So we will create a div. So class as what? Model. So fade and model ID. So ID as edit task. So we have a div, the class. So model dialog. Okay. We have a class model content. We have a task. This is class model header. Here we keep as edit task. Okay. Now we have another. So this should have. So model body. These are the details we are having. Now what should happen here is first let's pop up this. we'll have a button. So BTN and BTN close. Data BS dismiss. Dismiss what? Model. Okay, that is done. Now here we will open this. What it is? Database target hash edit task. Database toggle is what? Model. Okay. Now when anyone clicks on this edit, then it opens the edit task. Here what is the key point is, in that the task related detail should come. So that means here we need to display data list, data term. I don't want to show ID. Here I want only title. Data definition, input type is what? Text. Okay. So name is title. I'm using the name title. Now another option here, data term is a description. So here we have a text area. So rows is 4 and the calls is some 40. So name is description. Here you will face the challenges which you have to try. I will leave it for you. Few I will explain, others you do. Another one is what? Date. Here data definition, what it is? Input type is equal to date. And name is equal to date. And this we will keep in another form. And we have a button. So class BTN, and here we will use BTN sum success, and here we say save. Okay, that is the option. Now here when user clicks on edit, the pop-up will come. In this, the title, description should display, date should display. That means what title is present here, it should come there. So how you will display the data in that? On the edit click, we have to collect the data and display inside the form. In this form, the data should be there. How? And the same data should be submitted to put method. We have a put method in API. It should be submitted. So how you can collect the current appointment details? Actually, on body load, current appointment details we are collecting. What appointments is doing? Appointments, what appointments is doing? It is accessing all appointments. It is accessing all appointments of that user. But now, when user clicks on edit, only that appointment should come. When user clicks on edit, So when user clicks on this edit, only that appointment should come. Because there may be multiple appointments. Only that appointment detail should come. That means you need to write edit task, click event. On edit task already what is happening? Pop-up is coming. But the current appointment should load into that pop-up. So on edit task, you need a function. So let's write a function. The function is handle edit click. Okay. On edit click, how you will get current appointment details? So how you will get this appointment details on edit click? You remembered on events, we learned how to pass custom arguments. Remember the event arguments we learned now? Event arguments, we can pass default arguments, we can pass custom. How do we pass? I need to pass this appointment as custom argument. How? Tell me. On click. On click, na? Okay, on click. We have to write like a function. And what? The function. What is it? Handle edit click. Into that, we can pass that appointment. Complete appointment details can we pass? If you pass complete appointment details, all details will come. Any specific details we can pass? Appointment dot appointment ID. Okay. Is it okay? Do I need to do anything else? Check. This I have to collect here. You need ID parameter. Sure. In events, we learned custom parameter, event arguments, default parameters. Now I'll just keep an alert for you. What is it? ID. Now when user clicks on this edit initially, so alert 1 is coming. That means that appointment ID is coming and this pop-up is coming. So now what we have to do, this appointment related details, we need to load in those text boxes. Okay. That ID, because for that user, so many may be there. For every user, there are so many appointments. Then we have to access appointments based on ID. Now, how do you access appointment based on ID? Do you have any API method like that? We don't have API method to access appointment by ID. We have API method to get all appointments of that particular user. Then how do you get appointment based on ID? Because editing should be done on ID, update also should be done on ID. So you need to create an API method which can get appointments based on ID. Get appointments based on ID. So here what we have to do now, let's go to the APIs. we will stop the API which is running. We will go to this API, and here we need to create another get method. Let's copy that get method. So this is, I will give as get appointment, get appointment. So get task, simply get task based on what? ID. So that means now what we have to do, we have to get task based on ID. How you will get the task based on ID? So here we need to just change find based on what? So appointment ID is matching with the ID you have passed. So what is the ID you are passing here? Parse int. What is it? Request dot params dot what it is? ID. So it should get the appointment based on ID. So that means you can access appointment based on ID. But here still, let's check that. We will go here. What we will give? Appointments, not appointments, it is get task slash I given some 2. The second appointment is coming. So it is able to access appointment based on ID. And get task 1, it is going to get the first appointment here. So now what we need to do, we have to use this for displaying the data. Now what should happen on this? When user clicks on edit, we have to get the appointment based on this ID. So what we have to do? Axios dot what? Get http colon 127001 okay 2701 sorry 7000 and get task slash ID, whatever ID is passed. Dot then what should happen if it is successful? What to do? If it is successful, get the response. And this response data, where to configure? Where to define this response data? Where to get this response data? We need to show this inside the edit form now. So tell me, what should I do? I should display in that edit form. So what should I do? How you will display any data in an element which is in the UI? So shall we create another state for this to story? We create another state, or can we directly display in them? So let's say, suppose, remember this ID is not returning one object, it is returning array of object. That means the result is not object, the result is an array. In that, zero index is present where this appointment details are present. That means only one result will be coming, but it is an array, it's not an object. So here, shall we create formic here? Shall I create formic here and put the initial values, the values of this? Tell me. Means I am asking like constant. So edit formic, right? Because already formic is there. One we are using for add task. This is for edit. So use formic. Tell me, am I doing correct? So initial values. Initial values is what? Appointment ID. Appointment ID comes from response dot data of 0 dot appointment ID, because it's an array. Response data is an array. Okay. Next, title. So title is response dot data of 0 dot what title. Another one, description response dot data of 0 dot what description. Tell me, I am writing all the logic. Finally, it should work. Will it work or not? It will not work. Or will it work? And these initial values, we are writing that here. So in the form, you see, you remembered the rules of hooks. Tell me the rules of hooks. We learned custom hook. What are the rules of hooks? Rules about hooks we discussed now. What are the rules? Can we use a hook inside any function? We cannot. Hooks can be used only at higher level. Remember that point? I given a list of rules about hooks. So you cannot do this. Then where? So here where to do that? So we will create here another one. So I will copy another use state similar to that. This is edit appointments, edit tasks. Okay. Set edit tasks. We have edit tasks and set edit tasks. Into the edit tasks, the data should load. Set edit tasks, the data should load. What is the data? Response dot what data? Response dot data. After that, we will write a formic here. Oh, here we will write a constant. Edit formic is equal to use formic. Now, in this, what are initial values? Initial values is expecting appointment ID this will come from edit tasks. Am I right? So we have edit tasks reference now. So we will get from edit tasks. Edit tasks, it is an object. Edit tasks of what? 0 dot what? Appointment ID. Okay. Next what? Title. What it is? Edit tasks of 0 dot what? Title. Another one, description. So edit tasks of 0 dot description. Okay. Next one is date. Here problem will come. You have to solve. Few I am giving, right? Edit tasks. So edit tasks and 0 dot what? Date. Another one, user ID. What it is? Edit tasks of 0 dot what? User ID. Okay. Now on submit. On submit, get the task, and on submit, get the task, and send this to put method. Later we will send to put method. But this is where the key concept is. Let's bind this edit formic to the edit form. This is the edit form. Here we have to bind. So on submit, this time edit formic dot handle submit. It's a different formic form. So here on change, edit formic dot what handle change. Two forms are there. One for add formic, another one edit formic. Okay, this is copied there. Okay, on change we are giving. But see the issue here. Type I will give as submit. Observe carefully here. So when you are designing that, when I click on edit, then it comes there. But data is not displayed inside. Why data is not displayed inside? Because the values which are present in that formic, those values should be binded here to these elements. What on change is doing, it is able to collect the values, but on load, it should show those values. That means here for title, we will use value. Okay. From where value is coming? Edit formic dot values dot, in that appoint title, we will keep the title here. Edit formic values means initial values. What are initial values? It will bring them and display. Okay, so value edit formic dot values dot what description. Okay, so here you will face that problem. You solve it. Edit formic dot values dot date. Okay, these I am giving. Now see here, when user clicks on edit, those details should come here. So that means those details must display here. You click on this edit, those details should come. But it is not showing those details here. So I am binding these values here. Edit formic, title, and all these we are binding. But actually initial values are coming from appointment related details. But actually appointment ID, appointment name, these are not stored in this location. So when user clicks on edit, these details need to be stored there. And those details we need to display here. We are binding them. Edit Formic is going to access them. For example, if I directly bind those details here instead of edit Formic titles, I will use here. We have edit form, edit tasks. Edit tasks of what? 0. 0 dot what? Title. I will give this one. Observe carefully here. Refresh. You click on edit. The title is coming now. Understood? That means those details are coming. So that is not an issue here. But what is the problem you will face is same, I have to add others. But what is the problem is edit tasks 0. This is what? Description. Edit tasks. So, and 0 dot, this is what? Date. Okay. Here I am defining like this. Then what happens is when user clicks on edit appointment, those details will come. Date is not coming. You have to convert the string again into which format? Date. And attach to this, that it will display. That you have to do. Another point, here I need to modify this. So here friend birthday, I am changing to some typing. I am trying to type here something. It's not working. It is unable to change. So we are accessing the details and displaying, but it is not allowing to modify. We return on change now. Then why it is not allowing to modify? Because already we learned that when we write on change, it will allow to modify. Why it is not allowing to modify is you are writing, you are binding values of edit tasks, but on modification, the function is edit form related. Formic related function you are using. So the same you have to use here also. In that case, here observe now in the edit option, these are the initial values. That means whenever you modify, those details should submit here, right? But it should first allow to change. It is not allowing to change. Why it is not allowing to change? Because Formic is also using one-way binding. It is also using one-way binding. So when it is using one-way binding, the initial values that you initialize, it will not allow to change. For that, actually, what you have to do is go to Formic library. In Formic library means visit their official site, Formic, in npmjs.com. You see this. I will give you this as a task. Let's see how many people can explore it. npmjs.com. In that, you go to Formic. You will get the Formic library. You see, this is the official Formic website. This is the official Formic website. This is the home page. You go here. It will show the Formic documentation. This is the documentation. In this, you have to find an option that they have given which allows changes in initial values. Understood? In Formic, there is one option which allows changes in initial values. You find out. And that option you have to add here. That option you have to add here. If you add that option, then Formic allows to modify the values. Otherwise, Formic will not allow to modify the value. You can bind a value, but it will not allow to change the values. To change the values, you should enable that option. Now, what is your job is explore this document, check what is that option, and put that option. Then here I will give a comment. So enable editing of initial values. After that, here you have to write a logic of post. What is the logic of post? So here Axios, which method you have to use? Put method you have to use. And what is the URL? HTTP 127.0.0.1. So 7000 edit task and based on ID. Task ID depending on what ID. And you have to send the data. Put use the same like post. That means it will collect the data. This is the task. The task data it will collect and it will use it. These two things you have to implement, then the complete project is done. Can you try that? Only one work I have given to you, right? You try to do that. That is handling put operation. Because read I given, in insert I given, delete I have given. All the three. Now this you have to try by exploring the third one. Because remember, every third party may have a different option like that. Some third parties will directly allow modifications. Some will not allow. They need some special options to enable. So you go through that library and check that. Can you try? You try to finish this. Then once you're done with this, the complete application, now we will go into the concept of TypeScript. That means all these days you build an application by using what? React and JavaScript. Now we will learn the language of TypeScript and we will design another project with React and TypeScript. Another application we will see. That application I will guide, you have to design. But this time we will do with the TypeScript. But for TypeScript, first we have to learn the basics of TypeScript language. What is TypeScript? How it works? How it uses the techniques? How it is different from JavaScript? Once we know that, now we can start building React with the TypeScript also. That we'll see in next session. Right, tomorrow we will continue. In tomorrow's session, we will start learning React TypeScript. Once we start TypeScript, then we can build another application using TypeScript and other React features we will see how they work along with them. That we will see in next session. This entire project I will upload. Again, today we done only few modifications. So again, I will upload the zip folder. You can get it and try to finish that put operation. If you done that, in the next session, we will continue. Okay, right. Understood now what to do? Only two things you have to implement. Check if their Formic, what is the option required for enabling editing of initial values? Then post the data. That's it. If you can do that, it's finished. Okay. Tomorrow I'll continue then. Right.